Hello and a warm welcome to Top Tier's Fight Day. And for the first time, we are live from the iconic York Hall here in London. We have a fantastic night of championship boxing coming your way, which is topped off by a Commonwealth title on the line. I am now joined by promoter Johnny Clark, who's going to take us through all the action that's coming the way this evening. But first of all, first time here. How does it feel?
It feels different, very different, but I'm enjoying it. It's iconic, and I think Top Tier, we wanted to come in and make a statement. The way we're set up, we want it to be different from the seating, you know, even the LEDs. Look, it's a beautiful job by Total Sounds. And yeah, I think when I pictured being at York Hall, this is how I pictured the setup. So yeah, I'm really proud of how it looks. Yeah,
and you mentioned it is iconic here, and a lot of the fighters will not have fought here before, but they will have had it on their bucket list, don't they?
Well, the Top Tier favourite, Kevin, he's on every show. He's never been here. So it is special. And when you've got a build-up, you think, that fight's going to be quite spicy. And I think there's no better place for it where the crowd is over the ring. Yeah, so I'm quite looking forward to seeing Kevin, Ravel and Grant Dennis fight here.
Yeah, it's going to be a great night. We're going to go through the fights in just a moment. How has the prep for this one gone? We always sort of talk about the trials and tribulations of being a promoter in the lead-up. How has this one been?
It was easy, stress-free, easy, no problems until Thursday night. And then Thursday night, and then I had the most stress ever. We had a pull-out with flu, but I had the flu twice in this camp, so I can't really complain. And then we had an away fighter not get on the plane and crush a young boy's dream of fighting at York Hall. So not very nice on them, but it takes a while to get over them negatives, if I'm being honest. But then you just have to push them to the side, as I said before, and then focus for the people that are on the card. But obviously gutting for the boys that lost their opportunity.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we've still got a fantastic card, and we do have to talk about that main event for the Commonwealth title.
It will be the first Moldovan to win the Commonwealth title. Oh, sorry. Especially when he lives in England. So what a statement. He goes down in history, and his coach as well. And it's a real tough fight, taking on Queensbury in a 1v1. And I think we've come out victorious. Yeah, so that is Constantin
Ursu against Eithan James. And both are, I mean, they're wanting the win, they're expecting to win. Do you think this is going to be a fan favourite fight?
A York Hall classic written all over it. It deserves to top any card. The winner will go on to maybe take a WBC route as well, because the Commonwealth are linked with them now. And I'm excited to see it, because this is his toughest test to date. You know, I've seen the sparring, I've been around him, but now it's time to perform against a top-level opponent.
A difficult one for you, because you have got your promoter hat on for that fight. You want the main event to be great, but it's also a fighter who you manage in Constantin Ursu.
Yeah, so he is a favourite, but also you get to know the opponent. And I've been to his gym to film the promo videos, and when you're around him, you grow very fond of a nice boy in boxing and his team. It's very rare you find someone's just straightforward, no games, you know, it's just in there, shake hands, got a night house on fire, and you think, oh, I need to get you beat, but now I don't really want you to lose, so I just wish you a good fight, win, lose or draw, happy days, come back on.
Now we do have some other great fights on the card. What ones are standing out for you? What ones are you excited for?
Kevin Najago versus Hardy Collison. On paper, Hardy looks, you know, a decent level fighter, but he's an animal, and he's going to come out here and try and take the most famous boxers on the card record and take the win. Oh. And I'm looking forward to seeing Kevin back in the ring, because it's been a long journey for him, and there's a Belfast card coming up soon, so I'd like him to come out, make a statement, and then get onto that what he deserves, because he's had to drop the purse, come onto Top Tier on a ticket deal, pay the house fees like everyone else, and he is 6th in the world. You know, that's crazy, and full credit for him for swallowing his pride and ego and doing that.
Yeah, definitely. And you also mentioned Grant Dennis, Kevin Ravel. We were meant to see it on the last show. It's been talked about for a while. Finally, we're going to get to see it tonight, and it's been a spicy build-up.
Yeah, even yesterday, Kevin was £1 over, and Grant's brother made sure he went and lost it. Yeah, so it was tongue-in-cheek, because they both got the same manager, and when he made it, he went, no, that's fine. But yeah, it's part of the game. And I don't know why the spice is there, but this is the place for that fight, I tell you now.
It certainly is. And one we have to mention, as it is Mother's Day, we've got two mothers fighting in Stevie Levy and Beck. So it's going to be a fantastic rematch as well.
Yeah, and to be fair, I was worried about it being Mother's Day. But them two have said there'd be no better place to spend Mother's Day than two mums fighting each other. And I said, fair enough. And for some people, being Mother's Day work, they sold an extra ticket. For some, it didn't. You know, it's been a real mix. But great to see the two women get it on, and they're being friendly, but they assure me when that bell goes, 6 round of madness, Mother Day madness.
Definitely. Now, we are live on YouTube at the moment, but remember, from 5 p.m, switch over to DAZN Live. But before we go over there on the YouTube, on the undercard, we've got Zach Fee, who's a top-tier favourite, and he is going to be fighting here for the first time.
Yeah, we've got Zach Fee in a tough fight. His toughest fight to date, 8 rounds against a very game opponent. Now, people look at records on BoxRec, probably won't think that. But when you know boxing, you know this is a very tough fight, perfect fight before a 50-50 step up. And we've got Daniel Crotter as well versus Jan Rotter. Commentators, good luck. But again, another little step up, and he's come down in weight as well, Daniel, to be at his fighting weight. So 2 great fights to start off on YouTube before we get over to the main DAZN app.
Definitely. Now, I always ask this, fight of the night.
So it's a tough one. It's a tough one. If I'm going to say Kevin Ajago and Harley, yeah, just because I just think there's so much involved. For Kevin, he wants to kick on and get back to where he belongs, and for Harley, he thinks he can get there by beating him. So I just think there's a lot involved in that, yeah. And I think it's going to be a better fight, whereas Ursu, I think it's going to be more of a better boxing match. Yeah. So fight of the night, I believe, will be Kevin.
So you're saying fighter of the night, Constantin Ursu?
Oh, of course.
You've got it. Right, well, that is our talking done for now. It is time to get the fighting underway. So I'm going to hand you over to MC for this evening, MC Huss.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live on the DAZN YouTube channel. Welcome to York Hall, Bethnal Green, London, England, United Kingdom for a night of championship professional boxing. Capitalized, brought to you by Johnny Clark of Top Tier Boxing. And now, ladies and gentlemen, time for our first bout of the evening, scheduled 6 3-minute rounds in the super welterweight division. And now, please welcome to the ring, Jan Rotter. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome his opponent to the ring, Daniel Crotter.
I'm gonna keep going. I never lose. Of course, the devil tells you all day you're gonna lose, but also you've got the power to rebuke him. I'm telling you like this because I keep on winning. I never lose. I'm gonna keep winning. I never lose.
The ropes quite literally, possibly a move across to the UK in the offing sometime soon. This talented amateur making his way early days in his young fledgling career.
Ladies and gentlemen, this bout is scheduled for 6 3-minute rounds in the super welterweight division. This bout is brought to you by Johnny Clark of Top Tier Boxing and their proud sponsors, Think Green Partners, Synergy Direct, Triple Solar, and Rival. This bout is sanctioned by the British Boxing Board of Control. Your area representative, Richard Barber, and your timekeeper at the bell, Stephen Pucci, and your third man in charge of the action in the ring, Rocky Israel. And now, ladies and gentlemen, introducing to you first, fighting out of the red corner. He's wearing the white with black trim. His official weight of 157.2 pounds. He has a record of 6 fights, 4 losses, 2 wins, and one of those wins coming by way of knockout. Hailing from the Czech Republic, introducing Jan Rota! And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner. He's wearing the white with black trim and leopard print. His official weight of 152.2 pounds. He is currently undefeated with 2 wins. Hailing from Germany, introducing Daniel Krota!
Well, guys, you already know the rules. Protect yourself and obey my command at all times. Touch glass and good luck.
Here we go then. Really looking forward to it. Always fantastic to be at the famous York Hall.
Seconds out, round 1.
Joins me ringside for commentary tonight, Andy. I know that was something that was very much on the mind and in the emotions of Daniel Krota when he was talking to Ali throughout this week.
Absolutely, because as we always say, all fighters look forward to having an outing at York Hall. We've had so many massive names box here down the years, and Cross is someone I actually saw a bit as an amateur. I went to the European Under-22s in 2021 and then the World Championships that same year, so he's got that international amateur pedigree with Germany. And you look at the way that he's set up. He's lean, he's tall, kind of an angular fighter, looks decent.
Yeah, he's got the skills, no doubt about it. He's quite languid, quite loose, and we saw him back in December when he went a few rounds with a really tough and hard to budge Serjan Bobel, and we saw all those amateur skills on that occasion. What he says he has been doing in the intervening period is working on maybe just sitting down on his punches a little bit more torque, a little bit more twist in the hips and rotation, and finding maybe a little bit of strength and power to go along with it. And often that's the case, Andy, when the young prospects, the young pros are making those transitions early on from amateur to professional.
It is, isn't it? It's really common that that's the area, the aspect that they feel that they need to work on. Because in amateur boxing, the reality is that you can win a fight by hitting the target, not hurting the target, whereas in the pros, it's a different story.
Good start. He's clipped Rota a couple of times. We are in the East End, the old East End headline writers. We'll be hoping that Krota isn't upset by a Rota. But heavy favourite coming into this one. And what his corner will be hoping is exactly how he goes about it and the developments that he's starting to make. Catches him with a left hook again. And I suppose for Rota himself coming into this one, having to deal with the anguish, pain, psychological disappointment of being stopped last time.
It's not to be underestimated, that. I think it would be tricky, whatever level of the sport that you're at. When you've been stopped, it's going to put question marks in your mind. Absolutely, no question.
Clipped him there with the left hook and the right hand. Good follow-up there. Clever, fast 1-2 there from Krota. And there he goes. Good start. Bristling first 3 minutes for him. So just the opening, the start that Crotter and his team would have wanted. Here we are, Sunday fights on DAZN at the famous old York Hall.
Corners,
so many
10
of
seconds.
the good and the great of the boxing world have tread the boards here once upon a time.
Seconds out. Round 2.
And plenty of us who call the action consider it something of a privilege to be in these seats as well. So you can imagine how the young boxers feel, and Crotter is one of those. Just landed a roundhouse right to get us underway in round 2.
And just manages to lead off with a left hook there as well. What fighters tell you about York Hall is that the all-round experience is just different. It's hotter in here, for example, than it is at other venues. It just keeps the atmosphere just hovering in this kind of cloud above the ring. And then the dressing rooms are different. If you're on the undercard, you'll be what feels like below ground. But nothing's grand here, is it?
Atmospheric though, and hopefully there's going to be plenty of people here coming in throughout the day. And for the big one, we've got a proper Commonwealth title for you a bit later on. Looking forward to that one. Ursu's been granted his big opportunity against Eithan James. That's top in the card a bit later on. Lovely 1-2, then 3, doubled up the jabs, landed the right hand off it there, Crotter.
That's a very solid sounding body shot as well. Right hand to the body there from Crotter.
He's shown plenty of patience as well. Everything behind the jab, not taking too much. He does have low hands, Andy. That's part of his style. I think he feels loose that way. Interesting to see if that's something that's going to tighten up as he goes through the grades and as he develops. But at the moment, that's very much part of his makeup, part of his style.
And he's just beginning to put the shots together here as well, isn't he? Giving a bit of room and then finding the right uppercut. And Rotter's being quite ambitious here, quite aggressive. And I think this is suiting Crotter because he hit him with some decent punches there, some good variety. And I think he's really warming into this. He does like to lead off with that left hand. And as you say, the right hand is low. So maybe that's something that Rotter could think about. But there's, as we expected, an appreciable gulf between these two in terms of ability.
Went through the gears though there, didn't he, Crotter? And he walked him onto a couple of wicked uppercuts and then the right hand too. So he's trying to make an impression in this round. And bit by bit, just chipping away at Crotter and starting to make a bit of an impression.
Switching between stances.
Yeah, really good round. Really good round. That might be the best round of his pro career so far. Well, he went 6 last time out with Ambomo, who's, well, you'd have seen Ambomo plenty, Andy, over the years. He's a reliable in the corner opponent, Ambomo, and it was always going to go 6 rounds last time up. This one's scheduled for 6, but I think Crotter and his team might just be feeling they've got an opportunity to make a bit of a statement here tonight, make a bit of an impression, and maybe put down a little marker about where he wants to go.
I think so, because this is scheduled for 6, as you say. He did 6 against Ambomo. Ambomo's been a good fighter for a long, long time. Very difficult guy to get out of there, to stop. He's got the skills, the background, the durability he always has had. But I think the signs in that second round were that maybe he can get this done. Big overhand right there, just catches Rotter on the top of the head, but he'll need to keep the tempo high, I think. He doesn't strike you as a big puncher necessarily, Crotter. And Rotter, though, is more than happy to mix it.
Well, he's going to have to find a way, isn't he? Because he's been under pressure throughout that last 3 minutes, and already Crotter has got control of this, and he's starting to get a bit more confident. That's the thing, and that's the danger for Rotter.
Good use of the jab there from Crotter.
Oh, he just managed to ride that shot there, Rotter.
Just dips away to his left-hand side and looks for that big right hand over the top, Crotter, as well as leading off with the left.
Almost a little comedic moment there, where he was just clasping Rotter's hands in his palms, and Eddie clips him again with the right hand.
Quite a strong warning there from the referee about, I think, just pulling down on the back of the head or pulling Rotter onto punches there. It's a trainee referee we've got here, Rocky Israel, because I could see Mark Bates scoring the...
I think he might have hurt him with that little left hook to the body. Just paused there, Rotter. It seemed an innocuous shot, but I think he just hurt him there. He just backed off and paused momentarily. And now he's firing in the uppercut again. That was the punch that worked so well for Tevin Farmer against Zepeda through flashes of a hard fight for him again in the early hours last night. Good shot, oohs and ahs from the balcony, understandably, as he rolled over the right hand, he turned into it. Remember, that used to be one of the great technical skills of Michael Katsidis. He'd almost roll the right hand over, almost turning the knuckles into the shot. No surprise he was such a big puncher as a lightweight in his time.
That technique always just gives it that extra little bit at the end of the punch, doesn't it? And you can... It's funny, for such a kind of fractional movement, it's something you can see really easily when somebody does it. And when they do it effectively, you can tell that it just adds that extra bit.
I think it's getting hard now for Rotter. A little shake of the head, and that last right hand, just a wince on his face when he went back to his corner. I think that one hurt him. It might well be the accumulation, but I think that right hand and the left hook to the body earlier in the round, I think Rotter's just starting to get through to him now.
Well, the corner just shaking their head there as the referee comes across, and the referee has waved this one over, as you say, Alex. He didn't look happy when he went back to the corner, did he? And you just look at the stage of the fight they're at. We're only halfway through it, 3 rounds into a 6th round. All that awaited him there was more of the same, if not worse. And the referee went over, had a quick word, and we could see the trainer just shake his head, and his fighters obviously said to him that he doesn't need any more of this. And as you said, he's come into this off the back of a stoppage, and to suffer another one, if he's going to continue in the away corner, he's going to need to revise his strategy, isn't he? And just tuck up and be tighter and less ambitious. But for Crotter, that's exactly what he wanted.
Absolutely. You could just see the signs, the body language, and to be fair to Crotter, he engineered that. Quite a few of his fans up on the balcony have enjoyed it. So, career development, first knockout, that's exactly what he wants to see on the 3 fights in, and that's the best performance. That's the best we've seen him so far in his career. And Andy, he's talking about moving over here. He was saying that to Ali in the last week or so. I think plans are afoot to start building a base over here, and that's going to be important. The travelling back and forth from Germany for camps, it can be a bit disruptive, so that might give him a bit of solidity and comfort in his career early on.
Yeah, I think so, and he's training out of the Peacock gym, so that's a really, really good setup. The gym's moved out from Canning Town, the pro gym, to Epping. Very peaceful setting, cleanest gym I've ever been to be honest. That almost doesn't really feel like a gym when you go there. It's such a pristine environment, but if you're not really gaining any traction where you're from, then why not just make that move? Because the scene here is buoyant, isn't it? You look at these shows, you look at Box Nation shows, other shows, there's room for it.
Ladies and gentlemen, at the end of round number 3, referee Rocky Israel accepts the retirement of the red corner, as the red corner was in no position to continue. Therefore, your winner, Daniel Crotter!
Well done, Daniel Crotter. He makes it 3-0. It's his first time out in 2025, but it's the first knockout of his career so far. And it just whets the appetite about what might be in the offing for him and for us over the next few months.
Well, he's got some skills. We mentioned that international amateur background, and you can see that there is some pedigree there. I wouldn't say he's bouncing around up on his toes necessarily, but there is quite a lot of movement. He was looking to try and switch between stances, maybe a little bit too much at times, but there's some physical tools there, and there's definitely some ability as well, so I'd imagine they'll just want to get him back out again as soon as they can.
He's loving it, Daniel Crotter. Punching the air, acknowledging his fans who are high up on the balcony away to our left. One of the great vantage points in sport, I think it's fair to say, the balcony overlooking the ring at York Hall. They can only be 15 or so feet away from the ring. Absolutely tremendous. Absolutely tremendous. Right, what a win, what a performance, a career highlight. Let's hear from Daniel Crotter speaking to Ali.
Daniel, what a performance to open the show tonight. How did you feel in that?
Yeah, I feel good. Yeah, I feel good. I had a good performance this time. I felt much sharper, new weight division, feel much faster and stronger. So yeah, I'm happy with my performance.
Your first stoppage of your pro career. Do you think it's the new weight that's made the difference?
Yeah, my second fight, the last time I fought in UK was middleweight. It's not my weight. This time I fought between welter and super welter, and we go looking forward for the welterweight division UK. So yeah, I feel good here.
What is the plan going forwards? Now you're settled into the weight you want to be, you're getting performances like that. What is your plan going forwards?
Yeah, the next plan is to move to the UK. Right now I live in Germany. The next couple of months I'm trying to move to the UK and have a good camp here, live here, build my career here, and yeah, do solid 4 or 5 fights this year, and yeah, get comfortable at the pros.
Final word to the supporters who have come out tonight.
Yeah, all glory to Jesus Christ. Thanks.
Well done, fantastic performance.
Yes, see you.
Right, while we wait for the next fight to start, I'm just joined by Andy Clark, who is on commentary this evening. What a fantastic first fight to open the show.
Yeah, it was a good performance. I saw him a bit as an amateur, Daniel Crotter, at the European Under-22s and then the World Championships in 2021. So you knew that he had that kind of pedigree. Germany strong, they've always been strong. So to make their team was a good achievement. And I like the fact that he's going to make the move over, because I think that he needs to. Training out of that Peacock gym, it's a great setup. And we'll just see where he goes from there. But that was what he needed. I think Rotter, if he's going to continue in the away corner, he probably needs to revise his strategy a bit and be less easy to hit, be less ambitious, to be honest, tuck up a bit more and try and get through the rounds, because he wants to come and have a fight. And that's great for us, and that's good for his opponent, but it's bad for him.
Yeah, they don't want to be stopped, do they?
No, exactly. So if he's going to continue in the away corner, then, like I say, he needs to have a bit of a rethink.
But in the post-fight interview, Daniel said that he's going to move to England, he's going to make the move over and then focus on building his career here. How exciting is that for us? Because we're going to get to see him so much more.
Yeah, it's good because we've seen it with a few fighters in recent times. I worked on a show not that long ago where we had Nelson Husa, a big Albanian heavyweight who came over, drew a big crowd. He's going to be based in the UK. Istvan Hosseini, someone else I saw in the amateurs quite a bit, Hungarian fighter, he's looking to come over, because people look at the UK and they look at the boxing setup and they look at the amount of shows that there are that are on good platforms, and they feel like it's the place to be. And particularly for fighters who would previously, say 10 years ago, have been more attracted by Germany, so that's basically all Central Eastern European fighters. They want to come here now because that infrastructure in Germany that there used to be TV-wise just isn't there. The Sauerlands had a conveyor belt of really good fighters who they would get on TV and who would do big numbers. But that well has run a little bit dry. And so people are looking at a different marketplace. And whatever we think about how things might look to the outside with boxing in the UK and how things are run between promoters and networks and all the rest of it, there are loads of opportunities here, and that's why people come here.
And that is credit to the fact that there is the platforms like DAZN, and they're putting on the smaller hall shows as well, giving people the publicity and the opportunities that they might not have otherwise got.
Yeah, completely. I was talking about exactly this to a friend of mine a few weeks ago, and the amount of boxing you can watch live now is it's a different planet from when I first started watching boxing. We were talking Eubank Ben, and we were talking the first fight between the dads back in 1990. It was on a Sunday night. ITV went on air on a Sunday night for 1 hour, and the ring walks were late. So if the fight had gone the distance, then I don't know what would have happened. But in those days, you got no undercard, nothing. You just got the main event. Now you get the whole show at all levels streamed from beginning to end.
Yeah, definitely. And we do need to talk the fight that's coming up next. Zach Fee is fighting. He's done all his fights so far as a pro on top tier shows. So this will be his first time fighting outside of the Brentwood Centre. It'll be a different environment for him, something different. It's a tougher test tonight as well. But that's the type of thing that a young fighter, he's still only 19, he'll be relishing this tonight.
Yeah, of course, and you mentioned his age there, and that's quite key for him. At 19 years old, he's boxed regularly, he's got plenty of rounds in. Technically, there's a high level of ability there, and you just need to keep him boxing, get him out in as many different fights against as many different styles as you possibly can. He'd be keen on the stoppage, I'm sure, but really it's about just keeping him challenged, keeping him improving, because, he's so young.
Definitely. Well, Andy, thank you. I'll let you get back to comms, but we are ready for that next fight, so I'll hand you over to MC Huss.
Ladies and gentlemen, now it's time for our next bout of the evening, scheduled 8 3-minute rounds in the super bantamweight division. And now please welcome to the ring, Darwin Martinez. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome his opponent to the ring, Zach Fee.
Proudly from Singapore, but fighting out of England, and on Mother's Day, his mum Claire ringside tonight to watch him fight again, but for the first time away from the Brentwood Centre. Such a level-headed and talented young man who has raced to 6-0. He's got skills to burn, and out for the second time in 2025 to take the next step along what could be an incredible journey.
Ladies and gentlemen, this bout is scheduled for 8 3-minute rounds in the Super Bantamweight division. This bout is brought to you by Johnny Clark of Top Tier Boxing and their proud sponsors, Think Green Partners, Synergy Direct, Triple Solar, and Rival. This bout is sanctioned by the British Boxing Board of Control. Your area representative, Richard Barber. Your timekeeper at the bell, Stephen Pucci. And your third man in the ring in charge of the action, referee Sean McAvoy. And now, ladies and gentlemen, introducing to you first, fighting out of the red corner. He's wearing the black trunks. His official weight of 124 pounds. He has a record of 38 fights, 28 losses, 2 draws, 8 wins, and 6 of those wins coming by way of knockout. Hailing from Managua, Nicaragua, and fighting out of Cordoba, Spain, introducing Darren Martinez. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner. He's wearing the black and pink. His official weight of 122.8 pounds. He is currently undefeated with 6 wins, and 1 of those wins coming by way of knockout. Hailing from Sittingbourne, Kent, England's United Kingdom, introducing Zach the Singapore Cat Fee!
Okay, lads, 8-round contest. Keep it clean at all times, keep yourself protected at all times. Touch gloves, here we go. Good luck, lads.
Looking forward to this one. Seeing the next step along the way for Zach Fee and the progress perhaps that he's been making in between fights. He's up against
Seconds out,
tough
round
nut
1.
in Darren Martinez tonight. Martinez has only been stopped by the likes of Tom Welland and Andrew Kane. Really good operators. One a young prospect who's probably not far off a title, the other who's just won a title in the shape of Andrew Kane. So those are the types of fighters who've been able to get to Martinez, Andy. So I think it's a tough ask for Zach Fee tonight. I think plenty of people will be hoping that he's tested and likely taken the rounds.
Yeah, I think that's the whole point of this, really. Because as you outlined there, Martinez absolutely knows what he's doing. A Nicaraguan fighter now based in Europe. We've seen plenty of those in the last few years. Looking back through his record, he actually went to the World Youth Championships back in 2016, won a fight and then lost to Otabek Kolmatov. So, as is often the way with some of these away corner guys, he's mixed in some really good company, boxed at a really good level, and I think he will ask some questions, and it's 8 rounds as well.
Yeah, up to 8 for the first time. He's been in 6-rounders more recently, Zach Fee. And I think Martinez has come out tonight with a bit between his teeth. I think he fancies this job one way or another. So Fee's just going to have to be switched on. Nice jab there from Fee, and again just prizing through the guard.
Little fake with the front foot and then straight on to the jab. He's just creeping in, isn't he, Martinez? You watch that front foot and he's just inching in bit by bit, looking to get close enough tuck up like he does there, but looking to get close enough and then let his hands go.
And there he did, exploded into the right hand, didn't he? And that caught Fee slightly unawares. He's up for it tonight. Martinez, he really is. And there are a few guys on the circuit, aren't there, who have the ability, have a little bit of back form, and if they feel it, whatever it is, if they feel it on any given night, then they can cause an upset. And I think Martinez is feeling that tonight.
I think he definitely is, and as you said a few minutes ago, you look at the fighters he's been in with, the ones that have stopped him are very strong fighters, but he's gone down the stretch with some really good ones as well. Nate Collins, for example, in February this year, 8 rounds, and there's plenty of other fighters on that list, and he'll look at someone like Zach Fee and just think, you're not of the same standard as people I'm often in with. You're 19, you're undefeated and untested. This could be a good chance for me to get a W on my record.
You can see the concentration on the face of Fee. The jabs worked well for him. He just clipped with a left hook there. And Martinez flinging some leather tonight. Some of the action from the first round where you saw Fee was working considerably behind the jab, but it was those explosive bursts from Martinez that were taking the eye. Clipped him with the right hand. I think he caught him with a left hook in there as well. So he might have to step it up in the second round. He might just have to maybe put him in his place a bit. Remind Martinez of the supposed pecking order here.
Yeah, I think so. And as you mentioned,
Corners, 10
seconds.
seconds.
Is to really plant that lead foot and climb into a left hand. He's looked for that left hook.
Seconds
a lot.
out.
If you look at the
Round 2.
right-hand side of Fee's face, there is some reddening there. That right glove has been up where it's needed to be most of the time, so that reddening, a lot of it will be from the glove cannoning in to the side of the face. You see it there, he's got it glued to that right cheekbone, that right temple, and he needs to keep it there because that really is what Martinez is looking for. Probably needs to get a bit busier with the jab, Fee, go up and down with it a little bit and just occupy Martinez, make him think about what he's doing, because I make you absolutely right. I do think that the Nicaraguan has looked at this right from the off, has fancied it.
I think maybe getting him on the back foot might be half the battle for Fee if he can do that. The little glimpses at the start of this round that he might be attempting to. That fast 1-2 will help him in that regard.
But again there's that guard. He's got that tight guard up and he's just moving in, trying to move that head at times. He does offer a lot of body when he does that though, Martinez. Strong looking right hand there.
Yeah, he clipped him with the right hand, didn't he? That went right through the guard. And that momentarily just rocked Fee back on his heels. Again, he managed to ride that shot, just glanced his cheek to one side, but there is a bit of reddening on one side of his face, and that is indicative of a couple of these heavy shots that are getting through. So this fella's proving a bit of a nuisance early on, and Fee's going to have to find a way to put him back in his box.
And he's much more experienced over this kind of distance, Martinez, as well. He's got a lot more rounds under his belt in his career than Fee has, and I think that's why they've chosen him for all of the reasons we've been talking about, that this is supposed to be a test. Great left hand there, though.
Oh, he did. It was a wicked left hook. He caught him off the combination, and suddenly the fight is turned around. He's taken every second of that, Martinez. That was a wicked combination. It was a terrific shot. Nearly hit him when he was down as well. He did well to just step back, and the referee managed to get in. No rerun of Paddy Donovan against Crocker of recent times. And that is exactly what he needed, the young man. It's exactly what he's needed, because this was just in danger of spiraling out of control.
Nice right hand to the body. You took the words right out of my mouth there. That was exactly what he needed, because Martinez was beginning to walk in, and to just clatter him with a left hand like that. I was going to say they'll make him think twice about closing the gap quite so quick, but I don't think it has.
He's straight back at it. I think that was low. Well, he's going to meet fire with fire. He has come in tonight and he is full of the business, Martinez, and it's now Fee's job to stop him. Did he willingly go backwards, Fee, or was he just rocked? Either way, an important round that. Martinez is still bouncing on his toes all the way back to the corner. He is feeling it tonight, but he was feeling the power of Fee, who rocked him off a combination with a wicked left hook. Might get a chance to see this again.
Because there he is with that high guard, he's moving in, he opened out to throw the right hand, it wasn't quite there, but that's what he's looking for all of the time in that second round particularly, and he got that nice strong right through earlier in the round. It's a terrific fight this, that was a great round, because as you say, Martinez responded really positively. When the bell went at the end of the round, there was like quick turn on his heel, marching back to his corner. I think he's annoyed that he got caught, but as you were saying, that was what he needed.
10 seconds.
I wouldn't say Martinez was really starting to get on top and bully him necessarily, but
seconds out.
He had the wind in his sails.
Round 3.
He knows that he's got to be maybe a little bit more careful than he thought, because this kid in front of him might look like he's about 14 years old, but he can crack a bit.
Well, all sport is about momentum, almost always. Boxing is the one sport where momentum can be changed and overturned in an absolute instant, and it is unique in that regard. But it was just starting to build one way. Not quite the script I think many of us were expecting tonight, let's be honest about it, but a wonderful reminder of what boxing can produce, how unexpectedly it can unfold, and we've had a little bit of that so far through the first few rounds. Might just need to remember his feet, I think, throughout this feed. Bit more agile, bit more foot movement, because there's no doubt that Martinez is full of the business tonight.
Good right hand there from Martinez. He has to stay absolutely focused and on point all the way through this feed. It's one of those fights where to keep something like this under control, you have to work really, really hard. You can't admire your own work at any point. You've got to move off every single punch that you throw, because look at this here, Martinez just looking to back him up and pin him along the ropes in the corner, and he'll keep working hard here and keep this tempo high for all 8 rounds. That opening round, there probably wasn't loads in it. The second round was a 10-8 because of the knockdown, but this is going to be very, very competitive.
And certainly he's giving the impression, Martinez, that he's not feeling the power. He's giving the impression that he's going to walk through it. Whether that's true or whether that's a bluff remains to be seen. This is good from Fee. That's what he needs. Get his shots off, then move your feet, and then reset and go again. I think that's what he needs, and he's managing to employ those tactics perfectly now.
Good right hand, good counter right hand there from Fee, and then just rolled away to his left-hand side, and that's exactly what he needs to do, because this pressure from Martinez will be unrelenting, and he has to pick his punches, create those angles, and just keep him turning and keep him moving. And this is going to be a proper test of his gas tank here, Fee, as well, isn't it? Because Martinez, as we know, he's got the stamina to do 8 rounds at a proper pace.
I think he's just maybe starting to read Martinez a little bit. Just starting to ride the shots. I think he's seen them coming now, and maybe a little bit of the wildness and the intensity of Martinez. Maybe not quite as effective as it was, say, about a round and a half ago, but let's not speak too soon. There's plenty of dice to be thrown, I think, in this one yet. And there you go again. Wild hooks from Martinez, and despite the composure and seeming control, such as it was from Fee throughout that round, just a reminder towards the tail end of it that there's still plenty of fire in this Nicaraguan.
It was a good round for Fee though, wasn't it? I thought he was really nice and disciplined there, and he picked his punches well, and there are gaps there because Martinez is still looking to land big shots, isn't he? He'll throw that lead left foot wide and look for that big right hand over the top or down the middle. Hasn't looked for the left hook quite so much in the last round or so as he did at the start of the fight, so Fee's got to be absolutely zoned in and aware of everything that's coming back at him, but he knows that there are openings there, and there will continue to be openings there.
Fascinating fight, wonderfully, unexpectedly so. We're so used, Andy, to be ringside for fights like these. Where you see
10
one side of the card, you
seconds.
see the other side of the card, and there are. It's not wrestling. They're
Seconds
not
out.
preordained dance moves,
Round
but there is an
4.
expectation that of how, to a degree, it will unfold. Now and then, the script gets torn up, and Martinez is absolutely doing his best to do that tonight. As we move into the fourth then at halfway.
The belief that he's sticking to here, Martinez, is that he can get to him, that Fee will slow down, particularly in the second half of the fight, and that could prove to be the case. We don't know yet, we'll find out, but that's what he has to be thinking, and that's what he has to keep believing.
I'll tell you what the matchmakers are thinking right now. The management teams, Johnny Clark sitting ringside, probably sitting on his hands, is that this could be absolutely perfect. It could be absolutely perfect, but there is just the knife edge that has been tread right now. But it could be perfect in terms of what you gain, what you learn, what you get out of it, and of course winning on top of it.
I think if you're a bit nervous as a promoter every now and again when you're trying to build a fighter, that's a good thing, because, as you say, you want them to be tested, you want them to be challenged, otherwise fighters can stagnate. And they've been careful with him so far, but I think they've got him good fights against different kinds of styles. He's done plenty of rounds, and this guy, because of the attitude he's brought tonight, I think is a step up from everything that he's faced so far. You look at his record and you wouldn't think that that would be the case, but as we know, records can be very, very deceptive on fighters who box out of the away corner. But he's come to win, Martinez, and I wonder how many of Fee's opponents prior to tonight have done that, because he's come to win right from the start.
He absolutely has. Well, there you go, Fee. Just managed to move off to one side, then clipped him with the right hand. Study and concentration. He managed to ride that right hand from Martinez. And while Martinez is an ever-present danger in front of him, the actual moments of real danger have subsided a little. The intensity and desire and meaning is still in front of him, though.
There was a lovely sneaky uppercut there from Fee just a few moments ago. Little step off to his right-hand side, found the angle, and just checked his chin. Not loads on it, but that is a punch that he is maybe open to, Martinez. As he comes forward, his weight is quite heavily on his front foot, and he gets that guard up high, but the elbows flare away from the body. But again, he's just going to set his feet and swing, believing that at some point he's going to get through.
And that's where Fee's just going to be a bit cuter. He held his feet there. He was trying to stay in the pocket and ride those shots, and it was working for him. But they were so wild and so many of them that ultimately he couldn't contain all of them. And he got clipped really with a shot that I think the Rumbos in the corner will be furious that he's getting clipped with those kind of shots. And there was another little right hand on the end just before the bell. He was clocked with a right hand on the side of the head. So worrying moments return for Zach Fee.
I think he felt that one at the end there, because I was just looking at him as he went back to the corner, and he's okay, but I think that final punch just left something on him for a few seconds. And you're right, he does have to be careful, because Martinez is climbing into these, isn't he? He's putting absolutely everything into them, and if he does walk onto one, he could have a big, big problem. They do leave gaps, because he's not throwing a lot straight, is he? He's just setting those feet and hauling these big shots in from wide, left and right.
I'm pretty sure Billy Rumble in the corner there, he'll be saying to him,
Corners,
you
10
got to pick your
seconds.
moments. If you're going to punch with this guy, you've got to choose your moments, because you can. He's
Seconds
swinging.
out.
And he's swinging for the
Round
rafters and the
5.
lights. And so if you're going to punch with him, you've got to choose your spots and your spells. So, read on, McDuff. What on earth is coming our way now? This is totally unexpected. He's become a little bit of a drama show, and I'm not sure anyone in the Zach Fee business were expecting that tonight, but certainly Darwin Martinez has, and he's given it plenty, and he's given himself a chance again, courtesy of a few shots he landed. It'd be frustrating for Fee, because he was seeming to measure and control the fight through that round again, through the first 3 quarters of it, as he had done in the previous round. So it looked like he was building a bit of control and momentum, Andy.
It did. And then just a couple got through towards the end of the round. I thought that overall still it was a pretty good round for him. He's just keeping it longer, isn't he, in this round so far? And there's a big commitment from Martinez. I was just about to say, when you do that, what you make the other person do is really come in from a long way out, and that's when he can pick him off. He doesn't need to be trading at mid-distance, does he?
I think they're both getting into this, now. I think they both relish the challenge and are relishing the fight. After that right hand that he copped on the bell, Fee, he just nodded towards Martinez. And just there in that little exchange as he clipped Martinez, there was a little smile and a grin between them as well. I think they're enjoying this challenge. They're enjoying this matchup. They're enjoying this moment. And my goodness me, it's making good for the fans too.
There was a good right hand from Martinez. He managed to ride it just enough, Fee. But again there he finds that right hand himself, Fee. When he just curls it in round the back of the guard, he's had some decent success with it. It's been a little bit more circumspect from both of them in this round so far, but there's been some good stuff. He again just looks to rip in that left to the body, followed by the right there, Martinez. They're big wide shots, aren't they? If he could just stay calm, straight punches here and what'll do the damage for Fee.
Exactly right. Again, he was wonderfully composed and controlled throughout all of that, and then just tried to punch with Martinez, and he just got clipped with one of those roundhouse rights. So I think it's the same story again. Just got to be absolutely switched on, choose when you're going to punch, and feet. Easier said than done, of course, in the heat of the moment, and that's why this is such an important learning fight. 7th fight for 20-year-old Zach Fee. You see, remembering his late grandfather on the front of his trunks as Martinez comes in again. He might have clipped him, although with Fee sort of dipping under the shots, difficult to see how much impact there was on those. But again, Martinez giving the impression that he's landing heavy shots and he wants to land more.
And he's finishing the round strong here again, Martinez, and a couple of them definitely got through because it's that longish right hand that I think sometimes travels a bit further than Fee thinks it's going to, and it catches him. He hasn't quite gauged the range of it yet, and then there was a left hand in there towards the end as well. So this continues to be a really interesting fight because Fee has got good technical skills, and for most of that round they kind of stood off each other a bit more than they had done. And Martinez was just a little bit more wary than he had been, but then he got to work at the end of the round there and landed some good shots.
It's very similar to the 4th round, wasn't it? That I think at least 3/4 of the round there was measure and composure for Fee. He was controlling the action, controlling the narrative and the story of that round. But then there was a late surge. Was that late surge enough to sway any of the judges ringside, those watching at home and the referee in between? That's the question. I would have thought not, but that's up for debate.
No, same. And this is all down to referee Sean McAvoy's card. But 3 to go. He's got to try and keep that tempo high, isn't he, Martinez? Yeah. He has to, because he's the one with the experience in this stage of a fight.
Well, 39th fight. 33 more than Fee, 32, 33 more than Fee. So yeah, he's got a vast wealth of experience, and he's usually tough. He knows how to go the rounds, and it's taken titleists, effectively, a would-be titleist, whether it's kind of British or level, or maybe even slightly better, to get him out of there in the last couple of years. So the fact that Fee had him on the deck, the fact that he's hit him hard on so many occasions, that's a good sign for Fee. But I think more importantly now is ride the bumps, because there've been a few. See, I think that's fine. Those are fine where his body angles are deflecting the shots. He sees those coming. Those might look troublesome on the telly or from the top of the balcony, but those moments are fine. From a Fee perspective, those aren't.
And it's that right hand again. I mentioned it before that it seems to travel a bit further than he thinks it's going to. He was on his way out when it landed, and it was maybe more of a balance issue that as he had to back up and try and sort his feet out. But he just gets caught by that right every now and again. And that's the kind of punch that will make a little bit of an imprint on the mind of the referee who's scoring this. it's been really competitive all the way through. Good combination again there from Martinez.
Yeah, I think he might have just hurt him there. It was a right hand and then a left hook, and those were some of the best punches of the fight so far from Martinez, who is just a little bit more composed in his attack now. It's been wild and intense throughout, but just a bit more measure, maybe slowing down the pace. Whether that's because he's feeling it, quite possibly. But actually, this could help Martinez in those exchanges. He's looking dangerous again.
He is, and I think you're right. I think the fact that he's just decreased the punch output a bit and is picking his moments a bit more, I think it is helping him, because he's managing to just cut the ring off on Fee and making him work hard. He's making him work hard here. Some blood coming out at the end of the nose there of Fee to match the blood coming out of the end of the nose of Martinez, which has been coming for a little while. I feel like he needs a strong finish to the fight, Martinez, because up until this point, I'd say this is his round, but up until this point, have there been any obvious rounds for him? That there have been rounds that he could have won. I wouldn't say there have been any that have been too obvious, and there is a 10-8 for Fee in there as well.
No, I'd say this is the closest since the first. I think he might have won the first round. It was up for grabs. He was down in the second. He's certainly having a go at the end of this one, though. And he's given himself a chance, Martinez. He is cock-a-hoop. He's on his toes. He's bouncing in his corner. He's absolutely full of the business. Exactly how he started the fight. I think you could have given them the fifth, but I think that's the closest he's the first I meant. But I think that round, the sixth, is probably the closest he's come to outright winning a round. There was those moments at the end of the fourth, fifth, and prior to that he gave himself a squeak, but probably an outside squeak. But anyway, could be immaterial the way he's landing some of these shots. Either way, Zach Fee's in a fight, and it's going to get hard through these last couple of rounds. This needs to control himself mentally and physically.
It's set up brilliantly for this last 6 minutes. It really is, because
round 7.
Martinez will know that he needs this last couple. When you're away corner, you know you're probably up against it in terms of getting the nod, and that's just how it goes. And I do feel like Fee is ahead here. I think he's boxed well. I think this has been a terrific fight for him. Maybe he has got caught a few times when ideally he wouldn't have been, but that's all part of it. That is all part of it, and he's in with a decent operator here.
Yeah, there's been a little bit of drama, a little bit of jeopardy throughout, and often in these matchups, 6-0 against the journeyman, often jeopardy doesn't enter the building too often for fights like this, but it's been ever present in truth, and it's Martinez trying to come forward again. Spoke to Fee last night, actually, a very level-headed young man. Very diligent as well, puts in all the work. He landed another right hand there, Martinez. That really did send the sweat spraying up into the lights. But surrounded by his family, I was going to say earlier on, his grandma's ringside. His grandpa actually passed away in December, and I think the family as a whole, they actually went and spread his ashes on Thursday, just a few days before the build-up to this one. But Grandma Christine, she's ringside tonight alongside Mum Claire and his girlfriend Lema ringside as well. I suspect some sweaty palms, Andy.
There would have been at times. Certainly he just got clipped with a left hand there, but he's boxed well in this round so far. There's that right glove up where it needs to be, but that straight right hand just gets through there from Martinez. But he's been nice and busy in this round, as he has been in every round so far. And a big question has been asked of him here tonight, which is, can he box at a good pace? Can he keep that technique together? Can he focus on the matter in hand? And I think he's answered those questions well, actually, because this is what he needed. This is what we wanted to see him in, isn't it? Basically, a good fight.
Well, in amongst all the moments of drama, there's been real class and control and smooth boxing, hasn't there? And that's been the majority of the night, I think, for Fee. But that's a wicked uppercut. Did he land it? Or did he just manage to take some of the sting out of that, Fee? Another eye-catching shot there from Martinez.
I don't think that got through full force. I think it was half blocked or half missed. His back was to his feet, so it was kind of hard to tell. But he's looking to let go with that right hand, and it's that mid-range there. This is where he doesn't really need to get involved, because this is where these big wide hooks can come into play. He doesn't need to mix it up with Martinez at that kind of distance, because that's exactly where he's dangerous.
And that was better from Fee, trying to keep Martinez on the back foot. But yeah, when they're swinging away in the trenches there, that's not a good look for Fee. You're just giving Martinez a chance that maybe you don't need to give him. Kind of story of the fight. Really extended periods of smooth boxing and control from Fee, and then some wild, dramatic cameos from Martinez.
There's that right hand that he managed to get in around the back of the guard. That's been a really effective shot for him at times, but it's that kind of range there towards the end of the round, that sort of exchange where ideally he wouldn't find himself in those positions and wouldn't mix it. But as we've been saying, it's very easy to point out what somebody should or shouldn't do.
Corners,
Once
10
you find
seconds.
yourself in there, you're going to be in these positions where the tactics
Seconds
and
out.
what you would
8
ideally do
and
don't really
final
apply.
round.
And when that does happen, what he has showed us is that he's happy to have it with someone, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's done well not to panic, Fee. I think that there's moments tonight where he really could have allowed this to get somewhat out of control, to really spiral. I think the way that Martinez has gone about it tonight, that could easily have happened. So he's done well to kind of wrest it back when he needed to. And that's the important thing. And there's plenty to go back and nitpick and fine-tune going forward. But the important thing is to see out this round, to win it, and get the job done.
And he's taken some shots too. He's taken some
box
shots.
ticking tonight, Andy,
yeah,
that's for
yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
I'll tell you who will be watching this with interest, maybe a smile on his face, Danny Boardman, who was due to be on the card later on tonight. He got flu, so he was unable to fight. But Danny Boardman has already mentioned in the last couple of weeks that he and Zach Fee's a fight for kind of down the road. Well, I think Boardman will be watching this with a bit of a smile on his face, thinking, yeah, happy with this, happy with that idea, but we'll see.
He got caught with the right hand again there, Fee, as he was just disappearing along the ropes. Just caught him on the way out, and just for a split second there, his feet underneath him didn't look quite as organised as they have done at times. I don't think it actually really hurt him, but Martinez gets through with another left hand, and he's going to keep coming forward right until the end here.
They've traded big shots, they've traded right hands in this round. Really stiff jab from Martinez. That was a lovely 1-2 previously from Zach Fee. Back comes Martinez, and it's Fee who clips him with a right hand. I think we're going to have a pulsating end to this one. That's a good jab. Plenty of shouts for Zach from ringside here and up on the balcony. I think they've been well treated. I don't think there was anyone here. Matchmaker, promoter, corner teams. I'm not sure there was fans. I'm not sure there was anyone who quite expected the underlying drama that we've witnessed here tonight through these 8 rounds. It's been fantastic.
It has. It's been a really good watch right from the start, because as you said from the beginning, he picked up on it straight away. You could tell that Martinez had some wind in his sails, that he fancied it. He thought this could be the night where he could go out there, put it on a young, inexperienced, fresh-faced looking fighter and take him to hell and back, basically, and get the win. And he's going to continue to try and do that right up until the final bell, which is coming any second now. It's been such a good watch, this.
Fantastic, fantastic. Martinez praying to the boxing gods, kisses the canvas. Well, you are at York Hall, sir. You're entitled to do that. Whether he's just loving his own commitment to the cause tonight, or whether he genuinely believes that he won it. If dramatic moments won fights, then you could give it to Martinez, but dramatic moments don't always determine fights. And I think on balance, Fee did what he had to tonight. Well, reminded about how difficult and hard this game can and will be.
It's really interesting looking at the two corner teams at the end there, because Martinez started to celebrate, his trainer started to celebrate, so the feet corner respond, they get him up on the shoulders, and then Martinez's trainer is like wagging his finger at the rumbles, and then he turns around to the officials at ringside to say, listen, you need to score this properly, it's all on the referee, of course.
I think I just saw Billy Rumble pat his heart and his chest, and a little, whoop.
Well, it was very, very competitive all the way through. From where we're sitting, he's done enough in enough of the rounds there for you to get the win. But Martinez had big moments towards the back end of a number of rounds, which could see somebody go the other way with that round to the way that we've seen it. But for me, it's a clear enough win for Zach Feet, and actually on the scorecard it might be a bit wider than the fight actually was.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 8 rounds of boxing, we go to the referee scorecard. Referee Sean McAvoy scores the bout 77-74, and your winner, still undefeated, Zach the Singapore Cat Feet.
I think Andy called it. It might seem 3 rounds between them. It might seem rounder than the action perhaps was at times. But if you were to judge it second by second, minute by minute, it kind of makes sense. But either way, the best learning curve, the steepest learning curve of Zach Feest's life, no doubt about it.
No question, and you see Martinez just storming out of the ring there. He's absolutely livid. He felt like he did enough, and that tells you how determined he was to win and the frame of mind that he came to the ring with tonight, which is always great to see. 77-74 is 5-3 in rounds plus the knockdown. I think that's pretty much a spot-on card, to be honest, from what we saw. If you give Martinez the first, if you give him that 6th, and if you give him maybe one of the final 2 rounds, I think that's how you get there. It was a great fight. It was a really good fight, very competitive right from the beginning. I felt like he did do enough to win it, but that would have been more useful to him, I think, than all his other fights put together.
Absolutely. I think the only way you can say Martinez won, he put a lot into it. He was tremendous value tonight. He was terrific for all of us. But the only way you can have him winning is if you count, say, 30 seconds of work at the end of a couple of rounds as more important than 2.5 minutes of control prior to it. And I and Andy don't quite see it that way, but tell you what, that was unexpectedly wicked, wasn't it? I wonder what Zach Fee and John Rumple make of it. We might get a chance. Billy's up there as well. We might get a chance to find out now.
Zach, you moved to 7-0. That was your first time over 8 rounds. How did you feel in that?
Yeah, look, I mean, it's the first proper fight I've had, I feel, apart from maybe my debut, but I felt like he was in there to win. He wanted it as much as I wanted it, and, you know, I had the better box and I landed a knockdown and I got the win. So I'm happy with it. I thank God for getting me the win. I'm undefeated still, and I'm going to go again and keep improving.
Your opponent definitely came to win, that is for sure. He gave you some tough rounds in there. We saw quite a change between the first and second round. You got the knockdown in the second round. What were the instructions that you got that changed it round from what you saw in the first round?
You know what, yeah, I'm not going to lie. We've been working on this shot loads, like that right hand, we've seen him be dropped with it in the past, and we've been working on it on the pads, you know, turning it improperly off my feet, the technique on the shot. So, you know, it literally just happened as it happens in the gym.
And Billy, let's bring you in. A great fight for us to watch, maybe less enjoyable for you in the corner, but what were the instructions you were giving him to get him through those tough times in that fight?
I feel like I've done 8 rounds myself there, Ali. No, do you know what? Zach, I tell everybody, and people think I'm lying, but he's the most disciplined kid. You know, like, he's intelligent, he listens, he lives the life, he trains so hard, and he's only 20 years of age. What people don't realise is he only had 16 bouts as an amateur. 16 bouts as an amateur. He's 20 years of age now. He's pro. He's just had a good test there and dropped a real tough guy. And when I say this kid's going to go, he's going to do things in this sport. We're going to take it slow. As I said, he's only 20, but he's disciplined. I've had some stuff going on in my personal life that he's dealt with very well, and other fighters give you excuse. This kid gets down, he knuckles down, trains hard, and he deserves all the credit he gets, because I'm telling you, he's a good kid.
Well, it was a fantastic performance tonight. This is your second outing of 2025 already. How soon are we going to see you? Are you going to have a bit of time out, or are you going to go straight back in the gym?
I've got to speak to my coach Billy, my manager Leon, and everybody around me advising me to answer that question.
Well, as always, huge support in here for you tonight. Final word to them.
Thank you all. Thank you all for coming out. I appreciate it a lot. You know, it's Mother's Day. You know, a lot of people are missing out on plans of their mums to be here. You know, my own mum was coming, but she's laid up ill in bed. So yeah, you know, happy Mother's Day, Mum. And thank you all for coming out.
Well done tonight. Remain undefeated.
Thank you. Thank you.